everybody. This is Christian.
And Jenny.
And we are Ready to Disney. All right, guys. So we got some good response on our rest area reviews there in Magic Kingdom. Today we're going to tackle Epcot. So we're going to show you some different places, our favorite places to rest. Please note in advance, little disclaimer, there are a ton more places throughout this park to be able to sit and relax. Not all shaded, but they're everywhere. But we don't have enough time to cover them all. So we're gonna start this way. So the first thing I want to show you guys is kind of how Epcot is laid out. So really what you have here is you have Future World. This is the very front entrance of the park. You come in through this little red area here, you hit Spaceship Earth. From there, you can go in a couple of different directions. This is where most of your rides are going to be. Journey into Imagination and Soarin' and Finding Nemo on one side. You've got Test Track and Mission Space and the new Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, which I think this one still says Universe of Energy.
It says Universe of Energy.
Yeah, that's where it's going to be.
That's where, and from what we understand, it's going to be massive.
And we should have an update on that for a live blog maybe while we're there about the construction of that new roller coaster.
Yeah, we'll show it at least what it looks like from the front scrim.
We'll show the state bird.
The state
Disney's
bird.
the
Disney
crane.
state bird. You'll hear us referring to that quite often in a lot of these vlogs. It's the Disney state bird is the crane, which is actually a crane. They're constantly building stuff there, so we see it every time we go. Mm-hmm. Now, if you come across down through here, this is the World Showcase Lagoon. This is where all the countries are. We're going to spend a lot of good quality time in here on our upcoming trip, and you'll find out why here on our vlog that we're going to do the night before we leave.
Right.
So, first place we want to cover is actually over on this side. This is where the Imagination, the land, which is Soarin', and it has a little boat ride that shows where they grow a lot of their food and some of the stuff that they've done for agriculture around the world to grow food in places that just don't have that much water. How to use fish as natural fertilizers.
There's also a really good, I guess, quick service.
Mm-hmm.
Quick service.
There
air
is.
Conditioned.
Air conditioned. And also you have Living the Seas, or the Living Seas with Nemo. So where we're about to show you is right here. And this is from a view from a good rest area. You're going to be shaded. You've got some rock walls to sit on. But as you can see, you got a great view of the fountain. Interesting thing about this fountain, this water flows up. It doesn't flow down. So that's kind of a cool thing.
And don't feed the ducks.
Don't feed the ducks. You also have the monorail that's coming through there, which is always fun to watch. I know that we love to watch it. My dad loves to, every time the monorail comes around, his little face lights up. It's pretty fun. But you also get a good view of where the Imagination, the Figment ride is, and activities area for the kids. But from this view, we're actually looking at another cool little rest area. It's great for the kids. As you can see, this is the backside of the fountain. And you'll get that joke later on, I promise you. Mm-hmm. But if you notice these little pads here, they're all over the place up there. Water shoots up from one, lands into the other, and it goes back and forth. It goes over the walkways.
Yeah. It jumps from plot to plot to plot to plot. And it's not hard enough where you can't stand in front of it and get cooled off. It's actually pretty nice.
It is.
Yeah.
And you took Maddie over there a couple of times. She likes to try to catch the water, which is okay. Nobody's going to frown upon that.
And again, if it does end up in your mouth, you won't die.
That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, coming back to the map, the next rest area we're going to show you guys is over on this side. This right here, you have the store, you have a meet and greet that's kind of over on this side as well. You have a restaurant, the electric umbrellas right there. And there's a walkway right through here. Now there's a rest area we're not going to show because it's almost impossible to sit there. But they have some benches in this wind tunnel that if you sit in the right one at the right time, when those doors open from mouse gears, you get that blast of cold air. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. But like I said, everybody knows that secret.
Yeah.
So we can never find a spot to sit there.
But there's also here in this area, in Inventions area, there's the shaded, what do they call those things that are on top of, they're like the they're made out of sheets or whatever, and they're like stretched over everything. I mean, it provides shade.
It does.
Just not a whole lot. I mean, and there's places to sit under that as well.
That's correct. So over here, right about this area where you're walking through, instead of going straight to mission space or coming up and going over to test track, right about here is where you're going to find, is where you're going to find this area. Now, the cool thing about this is, as you can tell, these are mister stands. You can actually stand under these for a good 20, 30 seconds, and you're not going to walk out drenched. It's a very fine mist. What you can't see in this picture, just on our side of this picture over here, there's also a little a splash area. There's little tiny fountains to shoot up maybe a foot, if that.
Yeah, the little kids like it because it gets up to their faces.
Right. So if you are going to attend this rest area, I'd make sure that when you come into the park, have the kiddos wear some flip-flops or sandals that is going to be easy to take off and trade again for regular shoes.
And a few times during the day, Goofy and his swim gear will come out and play with the kids.
He does do that. You also have the trash can band, the trash can drum line. Yep. They're a lot of fun. They play on the trash cans and they have pretty cool beat. They're pretty fun to watch. Yep. So you can catch all that right here in this area while you're waiting for your next Fast Pass at one of these rides. And then the last one we're going to show you that's on this side of the park is going to be right here where this fountain is. This is the Fountain of Nations. Interesting little story about this one is that when they built this and they filled up the Fountain of Nations, all the countries that are represented, all 11 countries in there, all brought water from their country in a container, and they came in and they dumped it in there. So the theory is, and take science of evaporation out of it, of course.
Infiltration.
But the theory is this actually flows also in and pumps back through the lagoon. So technically, the waters of each nation that's represented there has.
It's the principle.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now the cool thing about this fountain is it has a show every few minutes. There are some places right over here is close to Electric Umbrella. There's also some outside snack tables that have umbrellas, so you can stand by those. We've noticed chairs before. Sit there underneath the umbrella, and you can watch the show. It's with music, and the fountains are synchronized with the music.
And this is also gated, so if the kiddos are off their leash, they can be here and look at it. And I think you can get almost close enough at one point to put your hands in it, but I think because it's gated off far enough, the little ones can stand there and stare through the bars.
That's true. And you are going to get, depending on how the wind is, you can get a little bit of mist.
You can get wet on this ride.
So it is nice. And where you're going to sit to watch this, you can watch people coming in and out of the World Showcase, coming to and fro. All right. So back to the map. Now what we're going to do is we're going to show you some of our favorite places within the countries themselves. Now, again, every country is very unique. There's a lot of places to rest in these areas, and they have their own little shops, their own little traditions, their own little museums. Some of them.
Yeah, they have stuff you can stand around in the AC and look at, and not have to be in a ride, near a line, near a queue.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, most of those areas are going to be standing because they want to have a good flow of traffic through these areas in the pavilions, unless you're sitting at one of the restaurants.
Right.
We don't have time to go over every single one of these.
No, we're just going to hit the big points.
We're going to hit the ones that we really enjoy. So the first one we're going to come to is Italy. And the reason why we chose Italy first as one of our favorites is because if you notice, we've already rested at one of these areas. We've done this. We've come in. Typically, we like to start with Mexico. So we've got some time to go through those, Mexico, Norway, China, Germany, before we start to feel like we need a rest.
Right.
So we come to Italy, and in the middle of the Italy pavilion, we have this guy right here, this Poseidon fountain. It is actually a fountain. The water's coming out of the fish, by the way.
Yeah, for some reason this picture was turned off. I don't know why. But yeah, you can see kind of where they would have the water and everything there. But
now, just to the right of this fountain are some benches. And some foliage that kind of comes up over it. It almost feels like you're in a corner. And this right here is the main path into everything there. So this is right about the middle
Yeah, it's the middle of Italy.
It's the middle of it. So you're not
Yeah.
along the main walkway on the outside of the pavilion, but you're not in the back either. Great little corner.
And the marble on this is always cold. So sitting here, me and Maddie love to sit here. And just kind of watching what's going on, and they have like a little guy who comes out and does a show with juggling and bells, and he doesn't say anything. He just kind of gets all the participation from the crowd.
That's right.
Guess what he's doing, and so on and so forth. So he's like an Italian, I guess,
mime.
Yeah,
Something like that.
He's really fun. He's probably about 20 minutes or so. Give you a minute to kind of rest right there and watch something interesting.
Now, the other reason that we like this one is actually one of Jenny's favorite things.
Yeah.
Is as you're coming in.
Chocolate cannoli.
That's right. And
yeah.
they're cold.
And they're frozen. Frozen chocolate cannoli with sweet cream. Do it.
That's what's cool, because about now you're about in the heat of the day or late afternoon, and it's right when you get to the pavilion. There's a cart there, and they have bellinis and some wine.
Non-alcoholic, yeah.
Well, they have some wine.
They do, but yeah, they do.
And then you've got these frozen cannolis,
stuff, yeah.
and as well as some Italian ice cream. So
yeah, they have the
grab some of that. Come over to this area, sit on the marble. You'll be cool from top to bottom, and you're out of the way.
And with that cannoli inside and out.
That's right. Yes, ma'am. So we're gonna mention food in a lot of different areas in our vlogs because you can't, especially in Italy, resting here.
Yeah, I love their food.
Oh
my gosh,
it's a great little stop off. So, coming back to the map, I want to show you the next little one that we like to stop at is here in Morocco, and one of the reasons why I like stopping in Morocco, this is a very unique country for a couple of reasons. We'll give you another little interesting fact here. Don't want to blow it all, but I get excited about this one. A lot of people don't know. So when they were building this, or when they went to Morocco and asked permission to represent Morocco in the World Showcase, the King of Morocco at that time was so excited that his country was going to be a part of Disney World. That not only did he send his own workers to come and assist with the Imagineers that were building this to help with authenticity and stuff like that. Morocco, the country of Morocco, the king himself paid for this particular pavilion to be there. So the Disney company and Roy, they didn't even have to pay anything for this. The king of Morocco paid for it all. The other interesting thing is when you're standing way out here before you enter the pavilion, or even on the other side, actually is probably the better view. You're looking across the lagoon straight into Morocco. There is a big tower you'll see in this next picture. In the background, you can see the Hollywood Studios Tower of Terror. And if you ever wondered why the Hollywood Studios Tower of Terror is painted the way that it is, it's because you can see it from looking at Morocco. So they painted the Tower of Terror to kind of blend in with what you're seeing in the Morocco Pavilion. So a couple interesting little tidbits there that's always fun to share. So what does it look like? Looks like this. Again, this is in the middle of the Morocco Pavilion. Now this is going to be a higher traffic area for everybody coming in and out. You've got a restaurant there, the Marrakesh restaurant there, that's very popular. I know that my dad and Kathy and her family, they always like to eat there almost every trip. But even though it's a high volume area coming in and out, you've got your fountain, you've got seating all around the fountain, and if you notice, you have some tables with umbrellas, you have a lot of trees, and you've got the planters where the trees are in that you can sit on. So again, you can grab your snack, you can sit here, you got trash cans right there, you can even go way over there in the corner. So you've got some shade and some good people watching.
Yep.
Morocco, I will say, it's one of my favorite pavilions to go into. It's really pretty, and it's a country I've never been to, but... and
I don't know if they still do the belly dancing.
They do.
And just out in the square.
Oh, I don't remember the last time I saw that.
They were doing that. Well, that was years ago when I saw it. But they had one come out and do her little thing, and
when we do
I don't know if that's still going on.
When we do the specifics on some of these countries in later vlogs, that's one thing that we're going to provide you is information on some of the shows and some of the fun things that they do.
Yeah.
So again, back to the map. The next one we're going to talk about is the UK. Now we skipped France, and we didn't talk about a piece in Italy. There's some great photo opportunities right there along the lagoon. But even those are great places to sit. They are out in the sun. And
yeah, even with American Adventure, they've got that stadium, palladium, whatever you want to call it, and that there is no shade. You are out underneath the boiling sun.
Right.
Yeah, so
France has some great features over here as well. But again, we're talking about some of our favorites. And the United Kingdom Pavilion, again, is one of our favorites. There is a little restaurant here that does have some seating, however, right there along the lagoon. However, they prefer that if you're not eating, that you don't go and take up a spot. That's kind of some valuable real estate.
It's really skinny in there.
So when you walk into the UK Pavilion, when you're first walking in, the entrance to it is right down this road. And you come all the way into the pavilion, almost towards the end of where you can go, and you come across this beautiful area. A lot of shrubberies. You know, I need a shrubbery. You've got benches. Again, there's not a lot of shade, but you do have some coolness coming from here, because if it's later on in the day, the sun's going to come in where these trees are that are in front of this picture, so it is going to provide a little bit of shade that way. You just don't have direct.
Also, when you're down this hall, there's a couple of stores. They leave their doors wide open, so it does get cooler as you're walking down through that path because all their doors are open.
Right.
So you're getting that kind of, as you're weaving in and out of those stores, you're getting cooled off, and they're all interconnected. They all have different doors, but they all connect through that what do you call that? The cul-de-sac, I guess?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so they're all, you can go through each one. You can start in one and just go all the way around.
Well, except where the street divides. Like this side will be its own, this side will be its own.
Yeah.
The reason why this is a good spot, you would think it'd be really crowded. It's really not. Most people that come down here, they take a look at it and leave. They come in here, they'll take a family photo because it's a really pretty area. But a lot of times people don't sit and just congregate over here.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of the places that Epcot does allow weddings after hours.
And
is in this garden.
They have a tea party there too.
And they have a tea party over here as well.
You can do.
The reason why it's not so crowded is because they come into this store and then they turn around and leave. That's what most people are wanting to do now.
They don't come this far back.
Now, the store has a couple of things. They have a meet and greet with Alice. That happens several times a day. They sell a lot of Beatles stuff and Union Jack stuff and Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff you would not think Disney would sell, but they do.
Doctor Who, there's a lot of stuff in there. A lot of TARDIS items in that store.
Yep.
So they come into the store, they may leave, they come around, they peek around the corner. They usually don't congregate over here. So again, if you have children that can get a little, you know, overstimulated or something like that, this is a good area to take them because there's not going to be a lot of through traffic. So you can kind of sit with them over here.
And again, everything's gated off, so you can let them off the leash and let them kind of get some energy out.
The leash.
That's what it is.
It's fun though. I like that. All right. The last one that we want to talk about is right next door. It's at Canada. Now, Canada has a beautiful pavilion. They really, really do. One of their biggest draws over there, other than their restaurant, Le Cellier, is they have a botanical garden area that you can walk through. Absolutely gorgeous. A lot of water rolling through it. There is some shade, but there's a lot of pretty things to look at. The only reason why we're not going to show you that yet is because there's nowhere to sit there. It's really not a rest area.
But it's good to rest your mind.
That's true.
It's not necessarily your duff you're always sitting on. You got to give your brain a break too, and this is a good place to do that because it's just pretty, and it gives you a moment to think and kind of clear your head and get back to.
It's a nice quiet stroll through those gardens. I'll give you that. But for us, or at least for me, a really good rest area has got to provide some seating because my feet are barking. That's usually the reason why I'm stopping.
And shade.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're not going to show you the gardens, but what we are going to show you, technically, it's not inside the pavilion or inside Canada. It is just outside. So the entrance into it is around this corner right here. And as you can tell, this is the main thoroughfare everybody walks to go around the World Showcase. This is just a branch off of it. You can't tell as much from this picture, but you can see right here. You've got this rock ledge you can sit on. There's another one on this side, and it's all underneath trees.
Yeah, the one that's facing this other way. Yeah.
That's correct. Now, typically, you do not have these in the way. These are for the Food and Wine Festival or the Flower Garden Festival. They're temporary, so depending on what time of year you're going, these will be gone, and you've got, as you can tell, a great view to Morocco. So, but you've got a great view of the lagoon and the different countries and stuff like that. But if you are going during the Flower and Garden Festival, Food and Wine Festival, these will be in the way. But you won't care, because guess what? These things are full of food, beer, and wine.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Kind of makes up for it.
Kind of makes up for it. But again, another great place to rest. So, those are our favorite rest areas. Again, Epcot is a really hard place to do when you're talking about places to cool off and chill, because there's so many of them. Every country does something different.
Yeah.
And when you're there, I mean, try as much as you can. Spend a full day at Epcot. Do your rides in the beginning, and then in the afternoon or whatnot, plan on spending the whole afternoon. You've got food from every country.
Hours and showcase.
And as we showed you, you've got places to sit. Everything is well air conditioned everywhere you step into. So really, there's no bad spot in the pavilion. But these are just our top favorites. So, I guess that'll do it for this evening for us. And until next time, have fun storming the castle.